Association of Nigeria, Kaduna State Chapter, welcome you to our Secretariat. We welcome you in the name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen. We have actually invited you here today to make a public statement on some recent developments in Kaduna State, particularly the recent court's ruling on the controversial executive bill seeking to regulate religious preaching in our dear state. We as Kaduna Christian leaders, as you can see us seated here, wish to state categorically that the judgment of the court to us is a welcome development. The judgment is a huge relief to all peace-loving people in the state, both Christians and lovers of peace from other faiths. For we, the Christians, we suspect that the bill in the first instance could have been an attempt to bully the different faith we profess and illegally aim at obstructing religious preaching, especially the gospel of Jesus Christ. Given the enormous purpose of the bill, we stand with the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, Kaduna State Chapter. We support their effort to have taken the matter in the first place to court, and we will stand with them to legally pursue this matter to the Supreme Court if those in power chose to continue with the case. This is because, as Christians, the Holy Bible commands us to go ye and make disciples of all nations. In Matthew chapter 28, verse 19 to 20, and Mark chapter 16, verse 15. And this commandment is not restricted to pastors. This commandment is for all Christians. In fact, that what makes you a true Christian is when you go out and make disciples of all nations. On the weight of the above, we interpret the motive behind the bill as a gross violation of the rights of Christians and all people of faith to practice their faith as enshrined in the Nigerian Constitution, section 38(1), which gives Nigerians the right to practice religion both in public and private places. Well, according to some fellows, the government may appeal against the judgment. Khan wish to advise Governor Nasir El-Rufai administration that rather than dissipating valuable time and energy on a matter with a propensity to create further misunderstanding in the state, the government should focus its attention on the security challenges bedeviling the state. Manifestly, the government seems to have failed in its key responsibility of safeguarding lives and property of the people as stated in section 14(2)(b) of the 1999 Constitution as amended. Since armed bandits now than ever before continue to cause helpless citizens havoc at any time they so wish without fear of being captured. I think Nigerians need to know this. Nigerians can sue government if you pay compensation for any kidnapper, because government have failed. But because many Nigerians don't even know their right, and no one has actually sued government because his brother or his wife or his son was kidnapped, for them to pay damages. That's why they have not wake up to live up to responsibility. Khan is saying that if the government will do her responsibility, she won't waste time talking about preaching or religious bill. In fact, it is no longer news that that the people within Kaduna State are repeatedly being robbed, abducted, or killed by armed bandits, often identified as Fulani headsmen, almost on a daily basis. Consequently, families and relations have to cough out huge sum of money and admit scarce resources to pay ransom to kidnappers to have their adopted relations freed. At times, even when the ransom is paid, the adoptees are killed. At present, people in some rural communities in Kaduna State are unable to go to farm purely for fear of being abducted, raped, or killed. Yet, all our government is troubled about is preaching bill. Christian leaders will remember that recently in Dankande community, which is in Briningwari local government near Dogon Awa, 15 people were kidnapped during a training or a choir rehearsal session in one Equa church. The pastor and his daughter, the son of the Reverend of Assemblies of God. We know what happened. There was no even support or encouragement from government. But sadly, all we could hear from government and especially the House of Assembly, is for them to enact bill to regulate preaching. Where were they when kidnappers were tormenting people? Have they regulated that? To add salt to injury, recently the United Nations listed Kaduna State among the 21 states in Nigeria considered as red/danger zone, where British citizens and other Europeans are advised against visiting. Isn't that supposed to be what should concern government? Or is it preaching big that he has concern about? Therefore, the problem that should be of grave disquiet to the government of Kaduna State and the front burner is the way to secure our territory from intrusion of armed bandits instead of compounding the problem with bills that offend the set provision of Nigerian Constitution. We, as a result, call on Erufai to devote his energy and attention to addressing the unending challenge of constant kidnapping of our people on the highway, in their farms and homes. We have spoken, we've had a lot, we've read from comments that the government is saying that the reason why they want that bill is because that bill was not actually even initiated by them, that the bill was initiated during the military era. And that argument is laughable. Because number one, we chase away the military because we want freedom. We said no to dictatorship because we want freedom. We are not interested in their draconian laws. For a civilian governor to still make reference to military draconian law, it is sad. If you so like the military that way, why don't you just vacate his seat and call a military man to come and be governor so that we'll continue in draconian law policy? We rejected military for democracy because we want to be ruled by the rule of law. But for someone to make reference to military laws, I think it is sad, and Nigerians should begin to understand the kind of leaders we have around. Therefore, we want to advise our governor to consider the advice of one Chris Ngodo, a public affairs analyst, when he advised the governor in 2016. On Daily Trust, Tuesday 22nd, page 48, he said, and I quote, "Rather than a bill to regulate preaching, the Kaduna State government will be best served by enacting laws that address hate speech and incitement, hate crime, noise pollution, and the proper use of public spaces." Quotation close. I think government is afraid for this kind of bill because they know they are the number one guilty people in hate speech and very inciting statement. This is what government should focus to do, not talking about preaching bill. We are equally calling on the governor, in the interest of justice and fair play, if he really means business, to pay compensation to all victims of herdsmen's attack, kidnappers and armed robbers, just like he paid the Fulani herdsmen 3 years ago to stop killing in some part of Kaduna State, even though the massacre and killing has not yet stopped. We make the above call because we have an evidence of what the governor himself said in 2016, that he paid Fulani herdsmen. You can find that in Vanguard of 2016. So in the spirit of equity and equality, we ask the Kaduna State government to pay reparation to victims of attacks and kidnapping all over the state. It is important to note that the preponderance of the violence which has befell Kaduna State in the past was never instigated by religious preaching, but was mostly caused by injustice, lack of equity, hate speech by those in power, and outright marginalization of certain people in the state. Look, let me even draw the attention of our listeners to hear this. Every crisis that has ever happened in Kaduna, I've had government and those in power say, it is not a religious crisis, it is a communal crisis, it is a tribal conflict, it is a sectarian violence. If you have said so, when does it become an issue of preaching? Why now using religion as an scapegoat to say you want to make a law to guide preaching? Well, you have always denied that the crisis is not religious. Gentlemen of the press, it is a public knowledge that the action and inaction of our leaders is often blamable for most of the problem in society. So Khan is calling on the government to retrace its steps and focus on people-oriented programs and stop exploiting religious differences to further pluralize the citizens. The fact about it is that Khan is in strong authority, and many local government chairmen have confessed that the governor have deployed, and his men have deployed people to local government to go and do what they call a divide and rule system, calling on our pastors to do programs they don't know. And we have unanimously today said we condemn that divisive attitude. A leader who wants to unite, who wants peace, will not divide a credible association like Khan for whatever reason. And those gullible few people who are, because of money, allow themselves to be used, will get resisted by our local government chairman and by our different denomination of Christendom. We will not yield to division, we will not yield to intimidation. We are going to speak with one voice and stand with one voice against anything that is not true, anything that is ungodly, and anything that is going to cause problem in our society. Meanwhile, if the government refuses also to listen to this wise counsel and also obey the court's ruling on the bill to regulate religious preaching in the state, we have other options that we're going to use, even if we do not tell you now. Can will have more options that we will use to tell the world the kind of terrible situation that the people of Kaduna State are going through under this kind of leadership that has no human face. For a start, Khan is calling on all Christians to say special prayer this Sunday, that is Sunday 30th of June. This bill was actually passed in the month of June. We want to tell God that in this month of June, that they pass this evil bill, that he will not allow that evil to stand in Kaduna State. So Christians will offer prayers in all their churches in Kaduna State on Sunday, and after that, we will meet at a designated place in the afternoon by 2 o'clock. We have communicated that to all our churches to say prayers and ask God to intervene. Because we believe in the Bible, where the Bible says, the heart of the king is in the hands of God. And God can turn it to every direction like a watercourse. If God can turn the heart of Pharaoh, if God can turn the heart of Herod, and other Nebuchadnezzar and other terrible kings, we believe that if we have a governor who refused and has hardened his heart, God has a way of dealing with hardened people. For the record, let it be acknowledged that over the years, and interestingly, as the chairman of Khan today, I have been privileged to serve here before. Khan has been working diligently for peace in Kaduna State. The fact about it is that we have made compromise on so many things for the peace of Kaduna State. And we will not stop. We will deepen that effort of promoting peaceable coexistence and tolerance by collaborating with people who are honest and lovers of peace from other faiths. But in doing this, Khan will continue to speak the truth to power, and we will remind those in authority to do what is right. Let me once again, on behalf of my colleagues, thank you for coming, and God bless you.